Hi and welcome back to the Player YouTube channel, or Player TV as we now call it. And I'm in one of my favourite situations at the moment, is when you actually get to go out and interview someone and meet somebody very interesting. And the gentleman sitting next to me, who I'll introduce properly in a minute, is one of those very, very interesting people. Today I'm in Malta, which is a little island off the coast of Sicily, around 80 miles. It's not the most biggest of islands, but it is absolutely stunning place to be. The weather's lovely here all year round, and the buildings, the architecture, the people, the food. Got to come and try it, guys. Fantastic place. With me today is none other than Mr. Joseph Tabona. See? I'm also trying to learn a bit of the language while I'm here. And Joseph speaks perfect English because this island is very English-fied. Joseph, welcome, and thank you so much for taking the time to...
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Well, I couldn't be more honoured, to be honest with you, because when we tell people what you do and all the things, which we'll get into in a minute, guys. Okay. So let's start right at the very beginning. We're in Malta.
Yep.
What is Malta to you? What is the relevance?
Well, basically, I'm Maltese. I was born here, educated here, and I live here. Mm-hmm. So obviously, this is my home country.
Yeah.
Which I obviously love. Malta has a great history. It can actually trace its origin some 7,000 years.
Wow.
Closer to home, St. Paul was shipwrecked in AD 60. So we were all Roman Catholics here. And then the Knights of Malta came from Rhodes in 1535. And
Rhodes, Greece.
Rhodes, Greece.
Yeah. Okay.
And they were here till 1798. So we had 28 different Grand Masters during that particular period. But I suppose one of the most important periods was really the Great Siege, which took place in 1565, which is when 30,000 Turks tried to invade Malta. And at that time, there were only about 8,000 inhabitants. And we did actually keep the Turks out at the time. Then Napoleon came in 1798 and kicked the Knights of Malta out. And today they're actually based in Via Condotti in Rome. That's where their headquarters is. We then actually asked for British help in 1800. So Nelson kicked Napoleon out, and we've been under sort of British rule. We became an independent state in 1964, republic in 1974, and the British forces left around 1978.
And since then it's been run by Maltese government?
Maltese, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So, guys, if ever you need to phone a friend and the question comes up on Malta in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, this is your man, because that's a history lesson and a half, and he did it in less than a minute. Amazing. So, obviously, your relevance, you were born here, this is your country, but you all do speak perfect English. I mean, it's quite amazing. I mean,
basically, English is an official language. Yeah. And in fact, I went to a boarding school for 10 years, between 1950-51 to 60-61.
Everybody's just worked out how old he is now.
And we weren't allowed to actually speak Maltese then. We'd get caned if we spoke Maltese. Oh. So there is a disadvantage, actually, because I think it's important to know one's language. Yeah. So I do speak Maltese, but here in Malta we have two official languages, namely English and Maltese. Mm-hmm. A lot of our commercial legislation is based on UK law. Yeah. So our Companies Act, Income Tax Act, our trust laws, they're all based on the UK law.
So do you have a lot of expats that have moved here?
We do. I think part of the success that's happening at the moment, because Malta is going through a particular boom, I think we've got a growth of about 6.3% of GDP this year. That's up to June of this year. And for the previous 2 years, we've had a growth of around 6% each year. And part of the reason is today we have around 60 to 70,000 EU nationals working here in Malta, which has given another tremendous boost to the economy because these people are working here. Yeah. They need to actually rent flats to live. They eat out most of the time, so that's given another boost to the economy as a result of these, let's say, expats living on the island. There is a great need of that number to increase, and the government is actually talking about that increasing to around 150,000.
Really? And what's the total population of Malta?
But at the moment we're around 480, 490, 420,000 Maltese, and the 60, 70,000, let's say, EU nationals. In addition to that, we've also actually always encouraged expats to come and live in Malta.
Sure.
So we, over the years, way back from the 60s, we had the sixpenny settlers, and now we have the high network.
Sixpenny settlers?
Well, they were known as the sixpenny settlers because they had to bring in an income of £800 in those days.
Okay.
And they only paid sixpence in the pound in tax.
Ah, right, that's interesting.
So,
yeah. So,
if you can actually work out,
yeah, I'm
that
trying
is
to. Yeah, I probably could if I had a calculator.
It's 2.5 or thereabouts.
See, he's quick on maths as well. This guy just blows me away sometimes. Relevant to you, obviously, is the tourism side of Malta.
Yeah.
I mean, what is is it a big tourist destination for?
It is. I think it's the. We've got quite a diversified economy. So, but tourism today represents probably around 30% of our economy. Mm-hmm. We do actually have manufacturing, which represents about 17%.
Yeah.
Financial services about 15%. Gaming industry is about 12%. We got quite a few first. So, for instance, the shipping register. Malta has the largest shipping register in Europe, the 5th largest in the world.
Wow.
But the numbers, as far as tourism is concerned, it's been increasing sort of by about 100,000 a year. Last year we were short of 2 million by 40,000. And it's estimated we're going to hit 2.2 million this year, and 2.5 million next year. And again, the reason is because Valletta is the culture city of Europe. So again, one's expecting more tourism to come into Malta.
Valletta is the capital, guys, just to give you the heads up on that. I do know a little bit. And you're obviously involved in the tourism industry because you happen to own a fabulous hotel. Which is called the Zara Palace, which is where I'm staying at the moment. And I've got to say, guys, it is probably one of the most unique, lovely little boutique hotels. Tell me a little bit about Zara Palace.
Well, it is Shara.
Shara.
So an X is pronounced as a sh.
Okay.
In Maltese. So it's spelled X-A-R-A.
Yeah.
And we're part of Relais and Chateau. My wife and I actually bought it in 1996, and it took us about 3 years to actually have it restored to its former glory. In fact, when I bought it, we had around 30 rooms, and we brought all the rooms back to their original state, so we had about 13 rooms.
Right.
And then we were allowed to build another 4. So it has 17 rooms, but it is part of Relais and Chateau. We joined Relais and Chateau within a year of opening our doors in June 1999.
What was the decision behind becoming a part of Relais Chateau? Is that just to help with the marketing?
No, we were asked to join them, actually. So we didn't even ask ourselves. I think it was the French ambassador at the time who actually recommended that we should actually be part of Relais and Chateau. They probably did send their mystery shoppers or mystery guests at the time.
Sure.
And that's why we got involved, and we're obviously very pleased to be part of the family of the Relais Chateau.
No, and you've had some very esteemed guests, haven't you?
We have. We've had Prince Charles and Camilla staying with us in November 2015.
Wow.
They'd taken over the whole hotel, really, for about a week. So it was, I think they enjoyed it very much, and they did actually indicate that was the first time they stayed in such a building, because they normally stay in large blocks of buildings. Mm-hmm. So it was a first for them. I think we obviously ensured that all the comforts were there for them, and that our staff looked after them as best as we could.
Lovely. And you've had some famous Hollywood celebrities, haven't you?
We have. We've had quite a few, actually, over the years. I think when we first opened, we did actually have Omar Sharif. We've had Bruce Willis a few times, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt quite a few times.
Have you ever had Sean Connery?
No.
He's laughing because he has a nickname around town. They call him Sean Connery. He does look a little bit like him. Yeah, so you've had Sharon Stone, you mentioned. I mean,
yes.
There's
Sharon Stone. There's
Did you take her a cup of coffee, or was that your son?
That was not me.
He'd like to.
I'm just trying to actually remember the particular lady of Dr. Zhivago, she was here too, the English actress.
I remember the movie, but I couldn't name the actors. I'm sure my cameraman would know.
Yeah.
He's very good at things like that.
Yeah.
So, moving on from the hotel, you're also involved in the hospitality industry, aren't you?
Yeah.
By way of restaurants. Can you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm involved in quite a lot of things. I mean, primarily I'm a chartered accountant by profession.
Yeah.
So I did actually serve my articles in London between 63 and 68. Came back to Malta, and I was a practicing accountant till the year 2000.
Mm-hmm.
I retired from public practice in March 2000, and since then I've been involved in a lot of activities, mainly working really for the government by setting up some of our agencies, and moving on. And then in 2009 I was asked to become Malta's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland. But hospitality came about really by chance, really, that my wife and I always had a liking for the Zara Palace. When we lived in Medina, she and I and the children would go there for tea.
Oh, really?
On Sundays. So we always had our eye on trying to actually acquire the property and to convert it to what it is today.
Yeah, which you've done a lovely job, I've got to say.
Thank you.
I'm not going to
Well,
keep going on about how
my
lovely
wife,
it is.
my wife should get all the credit for that.
I'm sure she should, and I'm sure she's floating around somewhere behind me.
I've no doubt. Yeah.
There's a very, for me, I think it's quite a good question. What was it like being the High Commissioner?
I think it was great.
Yeah.
It was a tremendous experience. I loved it, and I used to work as hard as I could. My main role was really to attract business down to the island.
Yeah.
So a lot of the other diplomatic duties I'd pass on to the other staff. So my role was really trying to attract business down to the island.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. So I was continually networking and meeting up with people. We probably actually had, we were there for 4 years and 3 months. We did a lot of entertaining at home. We had a very nice residence in Kensington Square. And in fact, right from the word go when I did actually present my letter of credence to Her Majesty, you do actually have your after drinks for the diplomatic corps, friends and other people. And in fact, I think my wife and I had 3 parties in a day and a half for about 150 each. And
that's quite cheap.
The waiters were somewhat surprised because I said, I want people to remember they've been here, so I want people to be sloshed. I want people to drink.
See, he's a proper High Commissioner. It's not like, no, we've got to keep up the standards. It's like, I want people to get absolutely off their faces. They'll remember me. I love it. So what was it?
It was a great experience because, quite honestly, one, I met a lot of people, and again, because my wife and I used to entertain every month at our residence, and we had a lovely home, and we did actually take most of our stuff with us, our furniture and paintings and everything. So it was lovely. My wife used to do an excellent job in entertaining, and as I say, we used to have 1 or 2 dinner parties a month, and through that we did actually get to know a lot of people, and I was used to ask for everything. Once I met what's his name, Mr. Al-Fayed at Fulham Football Ground. And
used to own Harrods, by the way, guys, for the younger ones.
He actually, I had a president actually coming up to London at the time, so I met up with him, I was introduced to him, and I asked him whether he could actually fly the Malta flag on the day that our president actually visits Malta. And he said, no problem. He said, you'll have to actually give me 2 flags. So I said, that's not a problem either. So the next day I did actually contact his secretary, and she said, it's all been done and everything else. Yeah, the flags are there. So I did actually send him what we call a 360-degree book in Malta as a thank you.
Yeah, lovely.
And I did it a second time. And then I did actually meet someone actually at the football ground, and he sort of said, I'm the guy that actually organises your flags. And I said, well, can we actually meet up for lunch and see what else you can do? And as a result of that, we did in March 2012, we did actually have an exhibition at Harrods where we had all the front shop windows depicting Malta.
Wow.
And all the flagpoles depicting Malta. We had 60 plasma screens on Malta. We had an art exhibition. We had a glass exhibition. All the receipts had an advert on Malta and Gozo. And footfall was, I think, 1,010,000.
Yeah.
I had people sort of phoning me up and saying, yeah, this is the way we should actually promote Malta.
Or just take over Harrods.
And there was even actually taxi drivers coming up to me also saying, yeah, I'm married to a Maltese. And
Really? Fantastic.
So it was really fantastic.
And then on some of you, more personally, you're a bit of a kleptomaniac, aren't you? Tell me a little bit about your collecting habits.
Well, I do actually collect various things.
Yeah.
Quite a few things.
To the extent he has a museum full of them.
Yeah, I collect what we call trades, traditions and tools. And in fact, I did actually show you the exhibition. Basically, it's carpentry tools, ironmonger's tools, weights and measures.
It's quite amazing, guys. If you ever come to Malta, just check it out.
It's of no value, really, but obviously it is of value and substance because of what it actually represents.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
historic,
all the different trades and traditions and tools that existed on the island. I used to buy them for next to nothing at an open market, and over the years, 20 years, whatever, it became a collection.
Yeah.
And that's it, really. I do collect Maltese antique furniture and some art.
Yeah. I know you've mentioned it, but the little museum was absolutely amazing. I mean, wouldn't be somewhere I'd normally go, oh, we must go there, but when you took me in and I was looking around at all the little things and imagining those people all those years ago using those tools to make things, it's just amazing.
And donning one's socks.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know remember
I think my granny used to do it. I just buy new ones now, but yeah. And also, I wanted to. You took me last night to a fabulous place that your son was. He was instrumental in the design, which is the
Medina
Zara Lodge. Do you call it?
Yes, the Zara Lodge.
Yeah.
My son was very much sort of involved in the actual construction. He actually built it, he designed it, and everything else with the architects and obviously. But it was a different
building.
It's a massive building. It's got about 15,500 square meters of built-up area. And really, it was a first of its kind, really, as a convention centre. So we can actually host anything from 2,000 to 2,000. From 20 people to 2,000.
Yeah.
And can be used as a multi-purpose event. So sometimes there could be 3 events taking place within the building at the same time because you've got different rooms.
Different rooms,
areas,
yeah. And that lovely, beautiful outside area with all with the swimming pool.
Yes.
It really, guys, it's a fantastic place. If you're thinking of a wedding or you're thinking of a big corporate event, again, Joseph is just the man to talk to about this because he's got the place where you can do it. So you're also, I know, I don't want to drag on and get you all through all what you do, but you are quite involved currently with the government as well, aren't you?
Yes. Basically, what happened was there was a change in government in March 2013, and I was a political appointee as a High Commissioner, and in fact, what happened was I'd met a particular gentleman, an American gentleman, who sort of offered me a job as a non-executive director and then offered me a full-time job. And in fact, what happened was the Prime Minister didn't want me to go and in fact let go of me on the 31st of July 2013. And then, unknown to me, he appointed me as his Special Envoy for Investment Promotion.
Unknown
to me.
And what was the appointment?
I'm Special Envoy for the Prime Minister for Investment Promotion. So I'm
Right.
like a roving ambassador.
But he didn't tell you.
No, I got to know through the post. Yeah, so
Through the post?
Well, reading the papers, yeah.
Oh my God! So you were reading the papers, and you suddenly went, and Joseph
Yes.
Tabona, is it?
Yeah.
And you're like, hang on a minute. Excuse me.
No.
I can just see it now.
I mean, I do get on well with the Prime Minister. Basically, all I talk was about business to Malta, so
Sure.
that's what interests me really in attracting business down to the island, which I do from time to time. So I'm continually sort of bringing people. And in fact, more recently, on the 30th of August, he did actually appoint me to chair the Malta UK Business Promotion Task Force. The idea really is to try and actually see identify UK companies which are likely to have problems as a result of Brexit, and we want to try and actually find solutions for them. Rather than actually say, come to Malta, we'll try and actually find a solution to you with you still staying in the UK, but actually either setting up a branch or a subsidiary to take care of your EU activity.
Very interesting. And
So
obviously...
we're taking a different road to sort of other jurisdictions which are really running after UK companies and getting them to relocate from the UK to another jurisdiction.
And obviously with the tie-in to the UK from the history and everything.
Well, the very fact that we're an English-speaking nation obviously is already is already a plus. And again, the very fact that all our legislation is based on UK law is another plus.
Yep.
So
that's two massive boxes.
And the other thing is we were under British rule, so I will say thank God we've been educated by the Brits, which is another tick. We're also part of the Commonwealth, so that's another tick. I think we do actually fit into each other and trying to actually, we understand the Brits, I think, and I think we can actually find solutions for companies that are facing problems as a result of Brexit.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to start talking politics now because I don't think that's really what our interview is about today, but I know you have your opinions, I've got mine. So I just wanted to talk a little bit more about the restaurant where we ate last night because it was rather special. It was probably one of the, I know I spent it with you, but one of the most romantic places I've been in the last few years. No, it was quite nice. But just to explain to me a little bit about the history of that little restaurant and what it's called.
That little restaurant was really actually originally set up by my wife's family some 40 years ago, way back in the 60s, actually late 60s. It was actually set up by my wife's family, and then after some time they wanted to actually get rid of it, and that sort of helped in that particular process. And then last September I bought it back from the people I sold it to.
Which I thought was quite a lovely little story, and that's why I sort of urged him into that one. But the food, what's the name of the restaurant?
Medina Restaurant.
Medina Restaurant. So if you're in Malta and you want the best, most romantic and the best food I've ever eaten, go to Medina Restaurant, and it's in Medina, the town.
Yes.
Yeah, I have to get these words right. I don't want to say Zara Palace again. So we've pretty much covered a lot of what Joe's life is all about here in Malta, and obviously you spend a lot of time in London as well, don't you? Yes. Which is where we met last time.
Yeah.
And
I spend around 170 days in the UK.
Okay.
Obviously, I pay my taxes here in Malta, so I'd like to keep it that way.
Yeah, I had to put that one on the record. No, that's great. But Joseph has another little passion, and I'm not going to spoil what's coming up next because that is one of the main reasons we're here. And we're going to show you in a minute that little passion because it's quite spectacular. So, Joseph Tabona, thank you so much so far.
Thank you.
And we're going to get back to you in a minute with something really spectacular to show you.